current student? No current students? So you're a current student? Oh, okay. Cool, cool. Which department do you which department do you work in? Nice.
Keep it fit.
What's SBA?
History until now when you come on to the arts. And I think with each kind of just like revolution of the ages, as like things change, economically, things change, maybe even climate wise, I feel like visual artists are always at the conduits to those changing times. And then they find a way to absorb the just everything that's taking place, and of course make some type of expression that helps people to navigate those times. So I would say that, yeah, artists change with the times always. That's just always been the reality. And I think especially now, there's a big focus on social justice because of the way the world is and information. So I do think that's a big thing, you know?
I definitely agree with Matthew that for sure arts, creative industries, the way how we approach creativity, everything has evolved. It has to evolve. Technology has advanced, and we have to advance with the technology because it's a tool that we can use for ourselves. And if we don't use it, nobody will know you in today's world, or you get lost, or you're like in your own kind of island, you know? And so definitely evolution is a part of everything, and we have to evolve as humans as well. And so definitely change is important and has happened and has to happen.
Yes, I agree with my fellow panelists. And as a human being, as we evolve, so our artwork will evolve. So while we gain experiences and learn more and be more exposed, that will show in our artwork. And of course, over time, people have evolved.
So evolving is natural. Can evolving become exhausting as artists? Are we evolving because we feel pressured and we have to? Do we actually want to? You know, from creator, now we possibly being an influencer, and now we're possibly being entrepreneurs as well. Are we doing this, you know, because we want to? Or are we pressured?
I think personally for me, I think it has to do with your core values and being true to yourself as well as being true to your audience. So whenever I come against that pressure, say for instance, it may be funding agencies, but that is real. When it comes to your artwork and funding agents, they may want a particular look, they may want a particular style. You have to remember why you are an artist. Who is your audience? Who are you feeding? And have belief in that system that I will stay true to my art form. So the art may evolve, but the pressure that comes with evolving, it has to be, it has to be comparable, or it has to be suitable to the artwork that you want to put out. And that's my philosophy.
I like that. So what you're saying is our core as an artist remain the same, but maybe our method, you know, may tweak a little, but our essence remain. Okay, I like that. I understand. I think that's very valid. Anybody else want to chime in on that?
Yeah, I think you use the word pressure, and just like a diamond, to become a diamond, like a stone, coal, it has to go under pressure, and then you have the diamond. Pressure is a part of the evolution. When we as students come here at Edna College to study, to evolve and become better, we are put under pressure. It has to happen, you know? And so pressure is a part of the process. And then as creatives, we may have like a writer's block, for example, or a creative block. And then to come out of the creative block, it's a part of the pressure. How do I come out of this creative block to come up with something again and put something out there? And then there's the pressure of society saying, you did this great thing last week, can you do it again? You know, so there are different elements of pressure. And then there's the marketing side of us being artists. How do we put ourselves out there to the markets that we want to get out to make an income? So there is that pressure as well. So from every direction there is pressure, but in the end, we will grow and we become better.
All right. Matthew, did you want to add?
Ditto.
I love the ad. Perfect ad. So, looking at this topic, you know, whether we are creators, influencers, or entrepreneurs, or all the above, social media has turned a lot of artists into influencers. Do you think this shift has been beneficial for the arts community? Or does it put emphasis on popularity versus the actual art?
I'll go ahead.
Please feel free.
I will say, as an independent artist for myself, with social media, it has helped. with getting out there. Before, as a recording artist, you would have to try to perform at every venue to try and get an A&R or representative to see you or somebody to see you. While now with social media, you just get your phone, put up a video, and just put it out there. And if you really wanted to get out there, you put a little money and investment behind it to advertise. And you have the control these days using social media. So in a sense, that has helped. On the other hand, we go back to the pressure. Popularity, yes, some people may have more numbers than you. How does that happen? How can I get more numbers? You know, maybe I will not be seen if I don't have these numbers. Then now you have record labels that are no longer looking at your talent, but they're looking at how many people follow you, how many numbers, how many views. So in that sense, it has a damaging impact on us as creatives.
Thank you.
Yeah, I totally, like, I think there's like, when you come on to like social media, and this thing is like is a tool, and at the end of the day, you can use a hammer to build a house, and you can use a hammer to hurt somebody. You know, there's always like something, there's always something, you know, to that. But for me, when I look at even just in the visual art space now, there are also these interesting benefits. I'm not saying that they're positive or negative, they're just interesting, because the whole popularity thing, once upon a time with the visual arts, to even get something in the eye or in the scope of somebody of quote-unquote influence, or somebody who was quote-unquote somebody in society, you had to go through all of these methods. You had to go through some type of Patreon family, you had to go through some type of method of some church or the Pope, you know, trying to okay what you're doing. This is a long time ago. Now, you just upload what you upload and you just pop style, you know what I mean? So, you know, it's like it's an interesting tool. I don't want to say negative or positive, because I think every human being have to reckon with what department of fame or popularity is their issue and problem. Because some people get attention, and this happens to every human being. People get attention, and because as a human being, especially in this day and age, you're not meant to know 2,000 people. You're not meant to know 2,000 people, you know, but you live in a world now where it's like, yeah, man, I have 2,000 followers. You don't really know those people. So that kind of thing do something that's difficult for a human being to deal with, I think. And I think we just have to go evolve as people now to go handle this technology so that it is a tool that we use and it not using us. That's how I feel personally.
Agreed. So it's how you use it, definitely. And with the AI right now, it is very helpful for us as artists, because it minimizes the number of people that we would have on our team, right? It also saves us money in terms of the time frame it will take to produce our artwork. And it's understanding that balance, that we will not have social media or AI to replace us as an artist, but it's understanding the different social media platforms that are out there. Which one is relevant for your artwork? Which one is relevant to reach your audience? Which one is relevant to tell your story as an artist? As well as which AI tool I can use to further enhance my work so it can reach a further audience. So it's not the tool, it is how it is used and how it is balanced with the artwork that is being created.
One of the positives I'm hearing from this is that this evolution of the artist as creator, influencer, or entrepreneur has brought the power back to the artist. Especially when J. Cool spoke about, you know, in the past, when musicians had to be waiting on this, that, but now you get to go online as an artist, you get to put your art on, you get to have persons reaching out to you, you get to sell better. You know, you are more in charge of your art. Yeah. But, all right, so if we're in charge of our art, this evolution, is it allowing the money to come to us? That's my question. Is the money actually coming to us now?
Definitely. As Janine was saying, you reach a bigger audience now. And using the social media, you can earn in two formats. You can earn by content generation. So you no longer have to wait on a record producer to give you money to record a label. Depending on how many content you have online and your views, you get paid by the social media platform. So that's another avenue of income generation while you're also selling your artwork to your audience. So it's definitely a way of getting paid, of earning and improving your income as an artist. And I think it has helped that narrative that says the starving artist. Because
that's what I was looking at, the concept of the starving artist, or how we, throughout the years, the money wasn't coming to us in certain ways. Are we doing better as we evolved in that area?
Now.
It's a level playing field now.
Yeah.
All right. You had a okay, Matthew.
I was just saying it kind of cuts out some middlemen. The middleman, sometimes you have to go through an organization in order to get an income on all these different avenues. Now it's straight to you. I mean, still there's a technological middleman, but it's still under your control in a sense.
Yeah, well, hold on. One thing, not to break the session, but I think you're in the path of the ancestors. I don't want to invite you, but
That's
But-
loving me over here.
No, it's good luck. It's good luck. It's good luck.
Good
No,
luck.
It's good luck.
Thank you.
They came
Yes.
out to greet you.
Yeah,
All
man.
right.
They say, ants like sweetness.
Ants like
Exactly.
sweetness.
That's the one you get.
I want to play devil's advocate. So since with this evolution of the artist, we get to do more, so more is coming to us. Are we doing too much now? Are we moving into a space where we are taking on everything? Are we now using a team, or are we moving away from a team and doing the work ourselves?
A team is still necessary.
Okay, I don't want a person to hear us and think a team is not necessary. So let's clarify that a little bit. Please continue.
Yeah, well, like any business, we have to look at ourselves as a business, right? And if you are a startup, it's like you and yourself and probably an assistant, and maybe you hire a freelance accountant that you may know to help or with taxes and all these things on the side. And as you grow, you can't manage everything because you're growing. It's more people you have to interact with, especially if you go on an international level. So you need to start hiring people, even if it's part-time, to more involved in your business, in what you do. And so as your business grows, like any organization, you definitely need the people to handle certain things, or you really go mad, honestly, and you have no time for your art. So a team is necessary.
And just to add to the point that you just made a while ago, because I think it's such an important thing to remember that as much as times change, some things genuinely do remain the same. Like, for instance, the level of mastery that you need to carry to a craft to get to a place where it becomes something that people want to buy into. That doesn't really change with the introduction of social media. You still have to continue and put in your 10,000 hours. It's just that now you have somewhere where you can show your 10,000 hours. So that is one thing I would say that I do. Not like I don't have anything, I don't have no word to throw on anybody. You know what I mean? It's just more so like as in as something every artist should remember. More things change, some things do remain the same. You have to put in the work, and I think also business is business. So that is like not a friend thing, it's not a, and that is also, I think social media can make certain things very casual. So it's like, no, whereas you're trying to convert to sales. Once upon a time, something was so rigid. It was on a shelf, you pick it up, you buy it, it's rigid. Now it can be a little bit more difficult to convert certain things to sales. So I think that is really the thing now of like how you navigate still getting people to pay you for something when they really could also just say, well, I can get that for free. That's another thing too with the internet as well too. So the whole doing too much thing, I would say, just to dovetail, mastery is still very important, and that's the thing that is gonna make people want to buy into what you do.
So what I'm understanding from this is, this evolution is allowing us to keep power, or to have more power, or to increase our power. It's not that we don't need a team, we need a team. But at least we'll have more of a say with the team that we're working with, and that is the benefit of this evolution as artists, from creator, influencer, or we are an entrepreneur. Do you believe that all artists today need to think like entrepreneurs or even become one?
100%. 100%. I think so. Because I think even if you are trying, like if you're trying to do a business and even if it's not working out, you're still an entrepreneur because you're taking a chance on yourself. So I think that, like, for me personally, taking a chance on yourself is what the word entrepreneur denote to me. You know, people would say, boy, it's somebody who have an idea of a good or a service that they can bring to the market. That's too complicated for me. Somebody who taking a chance on themselves is an entrepreneur. And I think that every artist right now have to take a chance on themselves, because society, especially the way society is conditioned against arts, everybody around you might just tell you not to go in that direction. So you're going to have to take a chance on yourself. So I do think every artist needs to look on that, especially a brand. And I don't even personally like that word, but it's important, you know?
We're going to come back to that brand. We're going to come back, because especially with the topic about influencers, brand is so important. Anyone else want to share on that point? Do you think an artist needs to be an entrepreneur? Do you think we need to have a business?
I think for me, each artist should think like an entrepreneur. To go back on the topic about team, I do believe in delegating to expertise. And if you are concentrating on being an entrepreneur is very hard, and it's extremely time consuming, and that can really, really take a lot of time out of processing and creating art. And that's a decision that I had to make in my entrepreneurial journey when I just started. Should I be making art, or should I be solely an entrepreneur? And having business coaches around me, I had to say, okay, for the first year, I will concentrate on building the business. Because especially as a startup, it is not easy. There are dozens of meetings, contracts, and funding agencies you have to collaborate with. And so the time to really give yourself that time and space to delve into yourself, to create art, it can be difficult, especially if you have the thoughts in your mind, such as, will this art piece be sold? So being an entrepreneur, I think as an artist, you have to think like an entrepreneur, because without making money, it makes really no sense. You make an art and it's underneath your bed and nobody's seeing it. Yeah. Really and truly, are you an artist? Right? So you're in art because of two things. You love it, but you also want to eat.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So think like an entrepreneur. You need that piece to be sold, but you have to decide, am I going to go full-fledged into entrepreneurship, or am I going to go full-fledged into being an artist? And if you decide that you want to be a full-fledged artist, then you bring on board a team member who can take your art to the market and take it to that international level that you spoke about.
Agreed. Just want to say that we'll be taking questions from the audience in a few, closer to the end. And we also invite the person streaming on YouTube to please, we can put some questions out. We would love to answer them as well. Any questions you have, yeah man, just put them there. I like what you just said, and a thought just came to me. Is it that, or do you feel, anybody as artists, that at times you have to pause being a creator to focus on whether as an entrepreneur or as an influencer, to get the business or the art or the product or the service out there? Do you feel like that creator part has to pause for a minute? Let me hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I agree, definitely. Sometimes you have to pause, because back to being an entrepreneur, you have to have the balance. So, and it helps you as well being a creative. You can't be constantly creating. You're going to exhaust yourself as a creative artist. And so having that balance where you shift sometimes to focus on, all right, I've created this product, how can I push it out there to actually make something off it? You know, I have to think as a business person, who can I hire to help me create an event or something to push it out here? How can I launch this project or product out there? And so that's where a team comes in as well, of people who have done this before, because you may not have the skills, you know? And so, yeah, my brain went quiet.
It's okay, sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
It is okay.
The creative process.
Yeah, right.
Creative process.
But the balance, right, back to the balance. It's important. You have to take a break, like a while ago, you know, to have that balance, to map out your product, your plan, because when you're an entrepreneur, you have to look at the business part of it. You have to have a planner and put the plan in action. And you have to look at your artwork and say, what problem am I solving with my artwork, and how can I market it towards that problem so that these people see that my creative artwork is a solution to this problem and make them buy it, and what's the story I put behind it for them to buy it. So definitely the balance is needed.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I will even there's something that I even recognized just the other day, because just to give some context, I'm a muralist. So I paint, do street art and stuff, like a couple of pieces around the city. But there's a large group of us that do it, I have a whole heap of friends that do it as well too. So we all grew up trying to find out, we all grew up trying to find out how we're going to make a business out of it together. So I was very lucky because I had so many other people around me, which is really where a rising tide lifts all ships, But what I wanted to say is, when it comes on to pause in the creative side of it, is that there are so many times where I would go to paint something and it's an opportunity, because I look at it as an opportunity. And then you go and then you see the wall and you say, okay, this is what I'm going to put on the wall. And you draw up this thing and you say, yeah, man, it's going to be, and I'm going to communicate this message of love and peace. And then the people come back to you and say, say, we really want, what we want is this, And all right, well. So at that point, no, creativity kind of, it not say pause, but it kind of turned on, But at the same time, once upon a time, I would look at it and say to myself, I'm not going to sell out any type of way. I'm not going to do any type of project unless it's my personal style and what have you. But I grew up in construction. So I remember one time my father come to me and said, boy, if I think like that, you wouldn't eat, So the facts of life. So as the facts of life come into play, it becomes the co-creator of the process, in my opinion. So where the creativity turn off, this is the life coming in now, the facts of life. And I have to just make that be a co-creator. And I do certain things I don't want to do sometimes. And even right now, I pitch in certain projects right now that I don't necessarily want to do. But I know that if I keep putting in the work, I will get better. So look at it like that. That's how I see it.
And we have to remember that a pause is not an end.
Yes.
Right? And even in my business, there's something that we promote, that art, passion has no age limit. So while you may pause, it's not an end. And that's where the evolution will come to, because during that pause, you are actually learning more, you're being exposed, you're getting experiences. So when you actually go back into that creative process.
As we were speaking, something came to mind. During this pause, are we having an identity shift? Are we still an artist? Are we now the marketer? Are we now the influencer? Are we now the salesperson? Who are we during this? And I asked because I was reflecting on myself recently, because I was, writing, Matthew is a visual artist. And I said, but Ebony, you don't use the term artist for yourself. Interesting. Are you still an artist?
Why are we so stuck on labels?
Ooh, let's get in that. Let's get into that. And one of the questions I said to myself, if a doctor isn't helping patients right now, is a doctor still a doctor? So then am I an artist, But that's why I asked, in this pause, who are we and how do we work through that? Anyone can take that if, you have a thought on that.
Well, I don't subscribe to labels. And again, I have a center. I know who I am. I know what I want to be. And if I feel like at this moment I want to pause to focus on something else, I have that belief that my audience will come, that my audience will understand, and they will appreciate what I'm doing. And we have to remember that in everything that we do, there is creativity. Even if we are an entrepreneur, there is creativity in that process. The method in which you go about being an entrepreneur, there is a creativity to it. And just by interacting with people, you are growing. By delving into entrepreneurship, by delving into an influencer, you are growing. So it's for you to keep your journaling. So when you decide to go back into hardcore creativity, you have those experiences that you can pull on to come out with more artwork that will have evolved.
I'd like to add to that to say that why should we limit ourselves? You know, we tend to just be restricted by society saying, oh, you make something creative, you're an artist, so stay as an artist, you know, because society says that. But we're living in such an age where, no, you can do more than one thing. And we have to not look as being a creative or doing art or music or whatever as just something for entertainment. But what about social movements? What about using art for health? Using art for policy making, using art for helping mental things, you know, all sorts of things you can use the creative art to do. And with that, we're still artists. So even with Edna Manley students having their degrees in visual arts or music or dance, and they're putting out for a job in finance, for example, I don't think they should be restricted as to be like, oh, they have a degree in that, so they can only do that. No, they have a degree in that, which is why you should hire them, because they are your most creative team member, and they're the person who will be thinking out of the box compared to your other persons. So I think we as creatives should wear more than one hat. When I introduce myself to people, I would say I wear 10 hats, but today I'm introducing yourself as this hat, you know? Hence Google me, you know, because I have so many different hats, you know?
I love the Google me. I love it. I love it.
Yes, so it's important, you know?
And do we only put restrictions on certain people? Do we put restrictions on the international artists like Beyonce?
Oh, no, we don't.
Right?
No, we don't. We really don't. That is true.
So why are we putting restrictions on our Jamaican and Caribbean creatives?
Exactly. And one of the things I noticed too, going back to myself, so in this space, I wear the hat of business advisor at Edna Manley. Yes, and I'm an alumni, but I'm on staff. And outside of this space, I am a creative entrepreneur. I have a business. And one of the things I realized is that we forget that creativity is also making the actual product, making the services. Sometimes we think of art as just, oh, I did a dance move, you know, or I did a theater production. But staying in that company and actually birthing a company is creation.
Yes.
Let me tell you that. I know that birth. I know that 9 months of labor. I'm still in labor. Hello. And just whole the process of all of that is creativity. And I think sometimes when we speak about the artist, we forget that yes, we're an artist, but we're creators. And we can move into any space and we can create. And that's something I want to remind us as we evolve into all of these different roles, that listen, as an artist, you are a creator. It is natural for us to evolve. It is natural for us to be, whether it's an influencer, an entrepreneur, a marketer. You know, you said finance. If you want to mix finance with the arts, it's just natural for us to do that.
And I'd like to add that creative people are the best salespeople.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
We're selling. We're selling, man. We're getting very creative and we're selling. No, I just lost my train of thought like you did earlier. I'm like, wait. But one of the things before I take questions to the audience, we were speaking earlier and we spoke about in the Caribbean, have we ever just solely been artists? Have we always been more than just that? I remember I was saying to you, when I thought of this topic and it says, ask a question, the evolving role of an artist, creator, influencer, or entrepreneur. And I said, but haven't we always been evolving? Have we ever just been an artist? And I don't believe it's that. And I just think that it is quite natural for us to create, to evolve, So what I mean is I don't want persons to run from, oh God, I forgot to be influencer, no, I forgot to be this. If we look at any of the persons in history in our art form, they did not only do the art. I'm sure if we look at all our founders and we dive deep into their work, I don't think there's going to be one founder that just does this and that's it. So evolving, like we said, is very natural. We evolve as humans. So it's just natural that we're going to do this. Any question from the audience? We would love, or any question also from the persons who are, Kim, could you, if there's any question from YouTube, could you let me know, please? Thank you so much. All right, could you introduce yourself?
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Kibwe Lawrence. I'm a third-year student of Edna Manley College, drama student.
Nice.
But I'm also a professional artist and creative outside of the walls of Edna Manley. I've been in a few movies and did some work with Sly and Robbie. So I've been in the business for many years prior to having the wonderful opportunity to sit for my degree here. But what I'm learning as I'm going is that a lot of the young acts going out into the professional world, because we're in the era of indie creatives, you know, indie music acts, independent visual artists, and so on. What these young acts coming out of the college space are not aware of is how to price themselves. There's no courses teaching them how to price it. What is the base? What is the base? You know, you graduate with a person in sciences graduate with a bachelor's degree. They know that they're worth at least this amount of thousands per year in any seat that they sit. So as a creative, how do we teach the young acts how to charge for themselves as opposed to allowing them to go out there and have people pay them what they think they're worth? You know, that's something that's going on.
That is a is a very good question. It's a timeless question, and I feel like it's a question that like every student, not just even somebody who passed through Edna Manley, even if you go UE, even if you go UTech, you're supposed to learn what it is to price yourself based on something that you have learned that somebody's asking you to provide a service to do for them. And I think that a lot of people as well suffer from something that I suffer from as well too, which is like a confidence sometimes when it comes down to a project. So maybe, and everybody is gonna buck up on different situations that make them feel different type of ways. Sometimes a project might be a local project and you say, all right, I've been there before. Maybe something come in one day and you kind of, you know, and then it's like those fluctuations in emotions really rule your reason. So that is the one thing, the best piece of advice I ever got was to not allow my fluctuation in emotions to rule my reason. So instead of giving somebody a price immediately, you ghost them for a little, just for a couple hours, and just sit down and really pencil it out. And then do the thing that most of the times people tell you to do, but we don't do, which is call somebody who know more than you. You call them and you get their really just unedited advice. Take everything that they're saying and just absorb it, you know, and then call the next person and compare the prices. And you just keep doing that until you get confidence. And then you contact the person back. And if somebody run you down and say, no, just give me a rough estimate, man. I'm very sorry. I don't do that. If you give me an email, I can send you an invoice. That's how, me personally, because I know there's other people who know what to do in that situation when I don't know what to do in that situation.
Yeah, I agree with Matthew on that. You know, having a mentor, you know, finding somebody within that industry you're interested in and talk to them one on one and find out what's the pricing like. You know, you have to do your research, and this is not only for us as creatives, but anyone in any business. You have to do your research, you have to ask people, you have to talk to other companies. Hey, when you hire somebody, how much do they charge, you know? You have to talk to somebody you see who have been hired. Hey, I see you did that kind of project and think, kind of tell me how much were you charged, or did it work for you? What is something that is devaluing our creative industry rates, you know? And so, because you don't want to break it down to like making somebody give you $1,000 when it's supposed to be $5,000, because then they're like, oh yeah, I'll go with this one, you know, and then you're ruining the market for everybody, you know? And so definitely research, have a mentor or more than one mentors, call somebody that you know and find out what's the rates. And be be gentle, make a friend, don't hog down people and be like, because it's a personal kind of thing, and some people are like, I don't want, it's a touchy topic, I don't want to know how much really I make, but find somebody you can talk to and relate to, for sure. Yeah, and use social media, reach out to people.
I'm a strong proponent of that as well, so reach out to people, find out what's the rate, but when it comes to charge, I always say this, I give more than what I have charged you. I am very big on value. I think once someone has paid me for something, I should go the extra mile. So when that work is delivered, they will go, ooh, it was really worth it. And I will come back to this person. So I always say to my clients, I am giving you what you are paying for. But when I actually deliver, it's above what they're expecting. And so value is very important. So it's not only about what you charge or what you want to be paid, but you have to be really be very, very strong on what you give, your value. Your value is very important because it's not only about that person who employs you or who give you that work, but it's the other people who will see that work. That is where you get additional work.
And I just want to also add one more thing, that you have to also look at the different levels. So don't think you're a beginner there and expecting to get an expert level. Get all the levels, intermediate, all the levels, and see where you fall in that as well.
Quickly, I'll add to that. I see another question, but I'm going to add something very quickly. When I thought that was a good question, and what came into my mind is, wow, as an alumni, how can we support this? Just me thinking as an alumni as well, how can we come back and help our final years and even have a talk to say, hey guys, you're coming out, this is a base pay, you could look at how you think to paying your, charging yourselves. And I'm thinking like, wow, how could something like that just benefit students? The second part of it to me is, you always have to think about your expenses. Even if you're starting, like someone asked me today, how much should I charge for this? And I said, let's work through your expenses. 10K for this, 10K for that, da. So now you know you cannot be under this. So you also have to look at it from that perspective, because sometimes as artists, we will give such a low price that it affects us negatively. And then by the time we look, reality check, we can't pay light, we can't pay water, or we can't pay rent. And we want to ensure that whatever we are charging, we can at least take care of ourselves. We deserve that too. Right. Yeah. And we have a question over there.
It's not a question so much as just an extension of the conversation. Well, I'll give you a little joke to start off with. When I just graduated a million years ago, and I graduated in jewelry. Okay, not from here, but graduated in jewelry. And I have always only done custom work. And as a recent graduate, everybody desperate for work. And a customer of mine actually said, no, Carol, I'll pay you more. That's too little, I'll pay you more. But it never occurred to me back then that I needed to be part of the equation. So I've learned. However, in terms of how you price yourself, how you price your work, I'm sure it's the same in most of the creative fields, but in the visual arts in particular, there are certain elements that are necessary in terms of what is affecting how you price yourself. And there are things like how many awards have you won? How many exhibitions have you participated in? How many residencies have you gone on? How is your work in the world? Who are your collectors? All of these things affect how you price your work. So it doesn't have as much to do with, let me put it this way. I've had a lot of students who would say, oh, but my work looks as good as that, right? Why can't I charge that same price? But it doesn't work that way. I mean, this is being an artist is not a job, okay? It's a life that you enter, and it's a life that you participate in. And you, like Matthew said earlier, you just have to do the work and keep doing the work. And the more you do the work is the more it will get seen, and the more it gets seen is the more provenance it has, and therefore the more value. It's not about cost, it's about value.
I was actually thinking of business when you said that. I was thinking of the value-based pricing strategy, because sometimes we forget that as artists. Yes, our work is equally as excellent, but we don't have the reputation. Yes, it doesn't have the value in comparison with other persons. You will reach there one day, but at the beginning, just take a little time to gradually reach in that space. Anyone has something to share else? All right, I have a question over here. May I have the mic, please? Thank you so much. In the meantime, I just want to say that we have an alumni website. So for the persons here on the line, please hop over to our Edamanda page. It is emc.edu.jm/alumni. So you can go on and please check it out. I have a question right here. Go. Yes.
So hi, good evening everybody. My name is Christine Coates, a BFA drama student, third year. I'm also the student council president of the college. So, all right, so the reason for my question that I'm going to ask is because I was booked for a show in Montego Bay, and I'm supposed to create a skit. And there was another performer who is gonna go ahead and sing, right? So we have to price ourselves. And when I told them how much I was charging for my performance, you know, come Edna, I go out there, go price myself for something when me feel like somebody go underpay me. And when I told them what I was expecting them to pay me, they were like, but he must sing, why you need to get so much money? And I was like, him price himself or him feel like he want to price himself. Meaning if I price myself for the work, I'm take me go put in for the entire night. And I had to stand my grounds to ensure that they pay me fair and square. So the question that I wanted to ask is, what's the most valuable lesson you've learned about managing finance as a creative artist?
Exactly the thing that you just described a while ago. Stand up for yourself, for real. That is one of the most important lessons, because especially, and then like I would say when it comes to finance, because I'm going to be honest, like even as a visual artist, it's not easy to make money. You know, like it's really not easy to make money. I think the field that I am in is one of the fields that, like, because it's so close to contracting work, where you send a contract and somebody is going to, and you have to deal with large scale. So you can carve out some revenue from that, but I think at the same time, a lot of projects I pitch for, I don't get. So it's like, you know, a lot of the time I think about just as a business person, I'm just like, boy, I really want to run this business, you know, but how it going to work out if each month, like, I don't, you know, get this amount of contracts to make it work? So what I have come to learn now is that, like, if you miss those kind of things, you look at it like you're missing an opportunity, and now you're about to miss a lump sum of money and what have you, but don't run down the money. Because if you start running down the money, eventually what going to end up happening is you're going to end up making less money, because you're going to end up taking less money per project and putting out more effort to do those things, that by the time you sit down and actually calculate down to the gas you burn, you realize that you actually lost money. So it is way better, and this going to sound back to the topic that we talked about earlier, you might have to find something else to go pick up and do. And in my opinion, for instance, it had to be this year in particular, just to share something personal. I am pitching to a lot of companies my services as a mural artist. I do the design, everything. Go find the wall, take the photograph, do the entire design, and send it to them, and send my price. And I send out about, at least, I try and send out about 3 of them a week. I had to learn that I have to pitch to the company way before they even know that they wanted a mural. But I'm lucky because I'm in a time right now where the country's having a construction boom, and the country is also having a muralism boom. So if I go to the company first, then I am more likely to get the job. Because the cheese move, I have to move with the cheese.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned something about, because one of the things I experienced in Montego Bay is that, or not just Montego Bay overall, but, you know, places in Jamaica, people always say, acting as an actress, I don't think that worth enough money, you know, because, you know, that's not really a big industry, so they probably have to take up something else. You know, so because of that, they feel like, oh, it no value much, so they need to underpay you as an actress, not knowing that we can do everything what them do out there. We can sing, we can dance, we can do almost everything. And we are also busy person in terms of managing money and all other areas as well. You know, so.
And doing something else don't mean that you're dropping drama, you know. Doing something else is a wide open space for you to, it's really you creating space to do something. And I think that one of the things that, and I genuinely think that this is something that is holding back the local artistic economy and world and what have you, is that people believe that there are limited amount of boxes you can jump into. Yeah, you might have to jump in a box, you know. Nothing wrong with like you're trying to find a lane for yourself, but it's like, if you decided that you're not going to do drama by trying to price yourself and send out these invoices to these companies to pay you, you might want to take up TikTok. Somebody might look at that and say, well, that is not a lucrative avenue to go down next. But maybe for you, you might be the person that break through. Maybe you want to take up something else and say, let me go into film. Let me try and see if I can go link my brethren who working on the film sets right now. You have any work for me? I want to come and grip on your set and learn how to do the stuff and work my way up. In COVID, I went and worked on Love and Hip Hop. I'm a visual artist, and I went and worked on a set of Love and Hip Hop. And it was scandalous, you know what I mean? But I don't have no business being on no film set, but it was COVID, right? And somebody called me and said, big production come down, you want to work in the art department? So I go. Still get some experience, but it is not my dream to do that, but me nimble. They'll do it. They will do it.
I like to say to myself, you know, man shall not live by bread alone. Seriously. We need butter, we need water, you know, we need other things. So we have to expand in other things, our other talents. We have more than one talent, and if we don't explore our other talents, what the Bible says, you lose it, you know. So we need to explore those talents as well and use it. And I like that you said that you would not agree on that kind of pricing with them. Yeah, and sometimes you have to negotiate things with people, and sometimes if they don't have the money, they can give you something else in kind, meaning if it's a hotel, they can give you a stay for 2 days, a weekend or something like that, but you have to look at your expenses. Can you afford to just take that, or do you need the money now? You know, but you're not going to starve yourself for sure.
Yeah, because at minimum, let us say, you know, you take this project on and you know you're not going to make a lot, but you're doing it because, you know, you're building your reputation as you spoke about, you know, at least a stipend. Yeah. You know, you want to ensure that your immediate expenses from transportation to, you know, food is taken care of. I see a question behind. Yes, please.
All right, good evening, everyone. I just want to latch on to the question that she just asked. I think a part of managing the finances is that you don't always, your client don't drive and dictate your price solely. If you decide that this is what you are priced, either your client can meet it or they can't. And the decision to negotiate or accept a negotiation should be yours. So your client should not be the sole determining factor of what it is that you want to price or charge yourself. So always remember that, because if each time the client comes and say, no, this is only what I have, and you decide to compromise, then what you're doing, you're treating your client how to pay you all the time. So you have to determine what value you're bringing to the table, and you dictate what your price will look like. Not that you're going to be rigid and not be willing to compromise, but you are the determining factor for what it is that you charge. I also believe that we need to be realistic too about the number of projects that we want to take on. Yes, sometimes we're enthusiastic and we want to do this, we want to do that, etc. We want to do so many things, but we can only do so much and no more within a year or within a certain time span. So be very realistic about the number of projects. So have a plan for it. So I want to do X number of projects that will try to earn me X amount of money, etc. And try to plan it out. It may not work exactly as it is, but it gives you a kind of measuring stick for yourself in terms of how much it is that you can take on without burning yourself out, and also without putting yourself in a serious financial rut, because we're talking about managing finances. Also look at how it is that I collaborate because that's also another way of managing finance. So yes, you're an actor, but maybe the task I'm getting may require me to go into producing. If I'm going to take on something that I need to do producing, I may not be able to produce an act, but who is the next person that I could collab with and ask them to take on this part of the project, etc. So sometimes the power or the financial wealth is not in a one-man band or my taking on all of this thing and putting myself out there, but finding like-minded persons who are willing to collaborate with you, working together, and then you can look at the project, assess it, and decide that, okay, this is how we will approach it. And so at the end of the day, the project still remain ours, and we all benefit from it financially. So those are some things that I think we really need to take into consideration when we're thinking about managing our finances as we try to grow in this kind of creative space.
Thank you. We had a question at the front. Another question?
I actually just wanted to speak in conjunction to what was said already about value. Something I've learned along the way. Sometimes you have to know when to turn down a job. You know, you have to subtract to add. And I learned that in several areas. I also do barbering. I wear several hats like yourself. So, you know, sometimes when you have customers come into the shop for a cut, they come with a budget. And sometimes that budget doesn't go with my pricing. Do I still take the funds and do the cut? Or do I make them understand, you know, the importance of why I'm priced the way I've priced my work? And what I've learned is you just have to be flexible, because sometimes you're going to have to let someone know that my price don't go according to your pocket. You know what I mean? Some of these people, they'll go into a bar or they'll go into a KFC and they'll pay any amount of money that it costs to render what service or to buy the product that they want. But by the time they get to you, it's like, oh, you're just like an independent. Why am I forget that? You work that? And the difference between you as a creative or an artist or an entrepreneur, the difference between you and that person that's earning more than you is that they've applied themselves to earn that. So if you want to be able to charge any amount of money for your craft, be of value. Be it that you value what you're pricing, and you will get it.
When you finish, you have a question? No, when you finish. Oh, I want to add something quickly, boy. You can pass the mic in the meantime, boy. You hit a point, you know. When they go to KFC, buy KFC, and then come and bring the remainder to us. That one hurts, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, we know that one all too well. Over to you.
As a photographer, it is very important to me to establish a contract. I don't know if painters do it, but you establish a contract. On the top of it is your name, your address, your telephone number. Then you're going to listen to what you're expected to do. I am going to include the last bottle of water between Kingston and Montego Bay. I get a job, I sleep on it. It will include the toll, my lunch, the time I will spend at Petrojam Montego Bay, wherever I go. I am going to be thinking about every last drop of petrol in that car. And I am going to include it. Now, if the money that I'm asking you, you cannot pay me, I will do exactly what the money you can pay me will cover. In that way, you don't lose anything. You will spend less time in Montego Bay, you will come back quick, so you're not losing anything. You will have less persons to interact with. Don't forget that your time is extremely valuable as a creative or a technical person. Very, very important. Nobody can ask me to do nothing for you right now. We can arrange to do that another time. A man called me and said, Mr. Ka, quick, you have any picture of Ville Royal? Yes. What is happening? I need a picture like tonight to put in the papers tomorrow because the front has collapsed. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you because I took it long ago. I will have to do a little research and it is available to you. I have to pay to store it on a drive. I have to plug in the drive and keep it alive. You will have to pay for those things.
And the time?
It is not a joke. Everybody that dies in Kingston, Jamaica, somebody, Mr. Ka, do you have a picture of? Yes, I do. And do you mean at so-and-so, the meeting of the Prime Minister, so on? Yes, I've had it since 2020. But I've kept it all of these years. No, you will have to pay me for it. That is a part of my profession. You take all of these things into consideration before you jump up and say, yes, I'm going to give it to you. It costs me to buy a drive, it costs me to buy a camera, it costs me to edit, it costs me to store. You will have to pay for it if you need.
And your copyright as well.
That is correct. Yeah. So take everybody, take a contract seriously. A contract is very, very important. You can't go to court if somebody break the contract.
I agree.
Save yourself.
And
Save yourself.
even if you don't charge, still
Have
do
a
a contract. I use a contract for everything. I have a conversation, whether it may be on WhatsApp or over Zoom, and then that conversation is converted into a contract, and that person gets it, and I'm very open. I say, I do not start working until you have signed that contract.
Perfect.
To add to that, if you get a job and you're doing the job free, what I do is I write what's called a 00 invoice, where I put the price, I put my fee, my rate, and then put zero balance.
But along with that invoice,
But you know my rate.
right, but along with that invoice, you also still send a contract. Because someone will say that our agreement was for you to do X, Y, and Z, when that was not the case. And that will impact your reputation. So for everything, you still do a contract. And I agree with you 100%. You still put on that invoice, because I do that too. I will say this work was, I gave you a 10% discount or a 20% discount. My fees X, 10%, 20%, whatever it may be. And my contract also goes with that.
And just to add, or to what you're saying, I think it's so important. So much value was just shared a while ago. A lot of times when we think of contract, we think of, oh no, I have to be a business. The conversation is, as artists, we as individuals need to have contracts. So I really want persons to really take that one in today. And if you don't have a contract, start working. I want to get someone to support you in how to create one. Any more questions? No question at the back? A question at the back. Can we get the mic? Anyways. So,
I just wanted to add something to the argument of not necessarily paying, but there should always be an exchange. So for me, when I am doing work with someone that I have agreed that it is pro bono, nothing is really pro bono. There is still work and effort going into it. So in my contract, I say, this is what I would usually charge. You are not going to pay me. However, you need to give me a recommendation that goes on my website. Or if it is that you know somebody that I want to work with, that introduction needs to come as a result of me doing this work. So that is something that you can use as a bartering tool as well.
yeah, I think that's perfect. That's actually very good, and I hope we take that one in and we implement that one. It's very simple. May I have yes, I can do this, but may I have a recommendation? On a testimonial. I can put on my social media. I can put on my website. So that is very good. Any other question or comment? Do we have anything on socials? No? All right. So I'm going to close off with a final question. As we look ahead, what do you think will define the artist of the future? Whether it's 10 years down the line, 20 down the line, What do you think? Looking back at the topic at hand about the evolving role of the artist, creator, influencer, entrepreneur, we're now moving into an AI space. You know, there's so much going on. Technology is booming in so many ways. And all of this is shaping us and the art and how we do it. I can see you. Something popped inside. Go.
Yeah, I mean, I liked that question because it really falls in from talking about contracts. And going into the future, the artists of the future has to protect themselves. Protect yourself from the AI, protect yourself from the thief them out there. Protect yourself, because we definitely have to have more contracts involved, because you have technology that is mimicking us and will mimic our work, and nobody will be safe. Musicians, performers, even our managers, everybody. So we have to have those documents in place. So the artists of the future has to be more aware of what's happening. They have to read more, become more knowledgeable, and also not be tricked, because just like all of us, where AI things are looking more human, right? Somebody may call you to come do our project, right? We're looking at a different part of security. And you think it's a real person, and you talk to them on the phone, and you say, oh boy, this really happening, and they probably send you something and you think it's legit, and then you find out it's a scam or some kidnapping business. You never know. That's the age we're living in. So we have to be secure, where find out from somebody, hey, I got this job, do you know about this company or this person? So you have to find out from other people if they worked with that person. Do you recommend me work? What was it like? Is this a real thing or not? Because that's the future, and security is more and more needed. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, lifelong learning is very important, and can't remain constant. You have to know to change. You have to know to be flexible, adaptable. And it really encompasses the theme of this panel discussion in terms of being an evolving artist. And if you want to be an artist of the future, you have to move with the future. You can't be stuck in the no millennium, or the millennium is behind us, whatever it is. So that is what is important. And even for me right now, as an artist, I question myself sometimes to say, am I still learning? So I do a lot of online courses, even if I'm not going to go into that particular field, but I need to understand. I do social media courses, because when I'm conversing with the social media manager, I need to understand the lingo, right? I will do courses in visual arts. So when I'm faced with a visual artist as my client, I am able to understand where they're coming from as an artist. So I think lifelong learning is very much important. We should be willing to learn. We should be willing to go into boundaries, push those boundaries, go into areas in which we may not have that particular core education, qualification, to really have an understanding and awareness of your industry, because the one that has the knowledge is the one who will survive. And we have to remember, while we are afraid of AI is artificial intelligence. It doesn't think on its own. It still needs a human brain to make it do what it has to do. So AI will evolve because we, as human beings, will evolve. We will tell AI what to do. And we have to embrace it to see how we can push AI to actually work for us. So lifelong learning for me, that is what is critical, that I continue to learn, dig deep into my industry, understand the stakeholders, the people who I interact with, the people I negotiate with, the people who I work with, so I can remain that thriving artist.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, man, that was really, even though you're talking about doing courses and making sure to keep, learning and stuff like that. So that is the thing too, that is like, I feel like with artists as well, too, artists are so adaptable, and I think that is something I can say that will be the role of the artist even going forward. But I think it has always been that way, teaching the world a very important lesson in adaptability. And I also think in that same adaptability, I think artists going forward are going to be helping the world navigate the reality of globalization and everything that is coming with globalization. Because with globalization, it means further inclusivity. And without education programs, especially, edutainment programs, programs of visual learning for a lot of people who are still in different levels. Some people can't read and write. That's a reality. But they still can't be left behind. So art will play a big role in navigating globalization, in my opinion. And I just want to give one example, just really quickly. I had an experience one time to meet an artist by the name of Achi Baba. He's a Japanese artist, very, very brilliant artist, And he told me a story. I was doing a residency program in a place called Weimar, which is in Germany, East Germany. And this town I was in, actually, a lot of people can credit the very way that door over there is to enter the library with the little knob come out and everything, and then the other side might have a little metal plate and you push it, Bauhaus design. The way how these chairs are designed, Bauhaus design. But the reality of the school where they were doing all these designs, was that they were trying to find further inclusion, trying to make design solutions for people who are disabled. The reason why we have a ramp right now, Bauhaus design. So I'm meeting this person in that town, and he's saying to me, Matthew, once upon a time when the Fukushima nuclear reactor blew up in Japan, I had to take up my phone and call my mother and ask her if she was okay, and my mother said, I am fine, but the other people who are living in a certain sector of Japan are not fine. And actually take up his phone and start calling everybody in Berlin that he knew, where he was living in Berlin, and say, okay, we have X amount of Japanese refugees who are going to need to leave Japan, and leave Japan permanently probably, and stay somewhere. Can you take them? And actually set up an entire program where he was getting Japanese people who had nowhere else to go in Japan, who were trying to go to Berlin. And he was like finding houses for them, finding flights for them, all type of something. And this is a visual artist. So at the end of the day, I asked him, so what was the culmination of all that? And he said, well, I go to some of the houses now of some of the people who, living in Berlin now. Some of them have like a girlfriend, and some of them have a family. Some of them are now enrolled in the college in Berlin. Some of them, and actually for him, he was trying to explain to me this lesson, and it's very hard to get this across, so I hope I'm not just rambling. That is not just the visual art you're going to be called to do in this life. Because in a moment, he had to stand up and do something for his people that coming from Japan that he felt some type of way about, and it was a bigger thing than himself. So that is just something I wanted to just put out there, because that blew my mind, and that made me know that visual art is very beautiful, because he used visual art to go to all the meetings with the mayor them and put together in proposals and in pitch deck. He used visual art to even have the notoriety to do that project. You know what I mean? So, and he put it up on display in an exhibition after that too. So big up to him. Anywhere there, Achibaba.
Thank you so much for that. We have... Okay. All right, so last 2 points.
in this technological era, right?
Hold on. Let's get the mic so that we can hear you clearly.
In this technological era, there's a lot of... I don't want to say it like this feet sound like me style anybody's craft, but there's a lot of copycatting going on, right? Where when you go on social media, the challenge is everybody's almost doing the same thing. All the music kind of sounds the same. What I tend to do is this, right? And I think the future artist, as you said, is going to be the person, or is going to be those creatives that can look into the saturation or can go to social media and see what's not there and then add it.
The innovator.
For me personally, that's what's worked for me for many years. I see myself as the entertainment, so I don't really navigate social media for entertainment. I navigate to look within the saturation and see what's not there, and then I put it there. And you'd be surprised the results you get. So try to be the innovator.
Yeah. Thank you. One person behind you. Thank you.
I'll be very quick. I'm kind of happy you shared that story, because when the question was asked, that's where my mind went. when you think about the future and the artists, because I think the future in this era of AI belongs to the artist that remains authentic to the art, understanding how he or she is positioned with the art and what it is that he or she can do with this art. Because with AI, yes, a lot of things have become very mechanical, technological, etc. And when we interact, there is no human connection. But the art remains that only thing of all the things that allows us to maintain that human connection. And I believe that story that you've shared is a perfect example of, even in this time of crisis, how the art remain that tool or that medium through which the connection could happen despite the geographical separation that existed. The art could do something humanly. So the human interaction, the art is what is going to keep us connected regardless of where we are and regardless of how much AI is happening, whether we embrace it, how we use it, etc. As long as we are authentic to the art and what it is that the art will do for us and how we are positioned as artists and understanding our role to use the art for the different things that it will do, that is the artist that will thrive in the future.
Thank you so much for that. This has been a great discussion. I want to thank the panelists for coming today, this evening. Thank you so much. I also want to thank the audience. You're a good audience. Yeah. Like, clap yourself. You are an amazing group. Thank you. I also want to thank our management team at Edna Manley, from our principal, Ms. Campbell, to our VPs, Mr. Jones and Dr. Barr, to our whole Founders Week committee, you know, everybody who came together and supported and made this possible today. We spoke earlier about team. A team made this possible, so thank you so much. And speaking of the team, thanks so much to multimedia. Thanks so much to marketing for all that they have done. And those are our departments at Edna Manley. Thank you for the library for giving us this space today. And thank you for Miss Daly and everybody who did this lovely decoration. It wasn't me. I don't have these artistic skills at all. So if it was me, you would know. So thank them all so much. I just want to remind you quickly that we have now our alumni page on our website, so that's ednamanlemc.edu.jm. And also for the ones who don't know and who are online as well, we have a small business development center at Edna Manley College where we support entrepreneurs. Whether you're at an early stage, you're at a more established stage, it is free counseling. I must stress that one more time. It's free counseling sessions, and I always wish I had someone. We spoke earlier about, you know, who is the mentor, who you're going to pricing. You go to that space to ask those questions. You know, you have a resource that I didn't have anybody to come to when I was at Edna to say, I can go to that person to say, how do I price myself? And I am the business advisor there, so I would love to meet more persons. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you. I would love for our alumni, students, and everybody, even persons outside, to come and get that support system. Once again, thank you all so much, and I look forward to doing this again in the near future. Madam VP, of course you can.
Hi, everybody. Just want to put in a quick plug. I really enjoyed the panel presentation. And I just want everybody to know that we have the Rex Nettleford Arts Conference coming up, October 15 to 17. I think you'd make a fantastic panel there. So, I mean, maybe you could consider a different constitution, but I'd love for your involvement. We've been struggling in recent years with getting alumni involved, and it's so beautiful when alumni come together. Let's make this happen, huh? So the call for proposals will be coming out soon. The theme is drawing from Rex's seminal work, Inward Stretch, Outward Reach, Arts, Culture, and the Reimagining of Humanism, which builds nicely off the point that you left off. So please, look out for the call, and let's see you get involved.
Thank you. Nice.